What right comes a fall? Did anyone hear you call? As you drove your Volvo into a canal. Oh, this is it. I love you, but I've nowhere else to go. I'm a depressio. I'm a depressio.
Sweet, okay, cool. Yeah, no worries. So we're sat here today. What is it? What day are we on?
What day or what episode?
The most
Okay, I think we're like
important thing
53
today, David, is what day is it today?
What do you mean? Is it a special day?
What day is it?
It's Wednesday.
And what date is it?
Date?
Yeah.
Is it my dad's birthday?
The 2nd of April.
It is,
Not just
yes.
your dad's birthday, but also my dad's birthday.
Yeah.
Is it?
So we're here recording a podcast. Fuck our dads. 70th and 80th.
We did our
Not big birthdays, are they? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Is that what they are as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
My dad's 70 today. Just sent me a video of his little cake.
Nice.
It was very sweet. And then your dad's 80 today, isn't he?
And he's doing good for 80 as well. Like, actually still with it, still moving. He's tired, but that's about it. He's looking sick for 80.
That's amazing.
He was body popping, wasn't he, on Saturday?
Sick in the good sense.
Not sick
He's not
as
looking
in
ill.
No, he's not looking ill. No. He's doing all right.
You'd say he looks good for 80, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He did on Saturday. He turned up at his 80th party in his Slazenger hoodie and his Lotto trackies that I think he's owned for the last 30 years.
Love it.
And was he wearing slippers? No, he had trainers on, didn't he?
Yeah, he's going out trainers. Going out Astros.
He had his going out Astros.
Man of leisure.
Yeah, absolutely. Joined today by the wonderful Jim O'Hara.
Yeah.
Of, many fames. It's too many fames. Medium-sized fish in a stagnant pond.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's good memory.
Yeah. Was that an old...
I think that was my Instagram handle for maybe Twitter handle actually for
years.
years.
Used to make me howl that. I used to love that, man.
Self-awareness.
So yeah, absolutely.
It's key.
It's a gift.
We keep
Especially
getting
these days.
we keep getting comments about having the bloke from the Arctic Monkeys album cover on. So I thought we'd actually bring you in.
Right.
I've got the album in question here, but it's not the picture you think
I'll bring
we're
it up as
talking
well
about.
in post.
It's the inside sleeve, isn't it? So we were talking about this just before we started. So there's a couple of pictures.
I've not seen this in ages.
Couple of pictures of
Longer
you.
hair.
Yeah.
Still got bags under my eyes.
What sort of year was this?
Flipping heck.
When you were doing
When did it
that?
come out? 2006?
06, yeah.
It would have been the year before, I guess. 2005.
Yeah, so 2005.
20 years ago. Bloody hell.
20 years ago, mate. Yeah,
wild. That were a good day. Went to Liverpool.
So are all these pictures shot in Liverpool?
That one's Frog and Parrot. So one's in Sheff.
Yeah.
And
the
then
taxi, are you in? Is that
that's
Sheff?
Liverpool.
That's in Liverpool.
Taxi's Liverpool. The club scene's Liverpool.
Yeah.
Few others.
For our audio listeners, by the way, we're showing Jim the insert of the Arctic Monkeys album. Whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. Their first debut album. We keep getting comments about the guy on the front cover for some reason. I don't know why, because he looks nothing like Steve Bracknell.
No, Chris McClure is his name. I've not met. I own a business with Chris McClure, but I've not had the pleasure of Steve Bracknell's company.
Yeah,
but,
you've met. Well, we know Chris as well. Obviously, he's John's brother, so we've had John on, and he's come and chatted to us. So.
Yeah,
that's been interesting. But let's chat about you, Jim. Business owner, entrepreneur.
Yeah, I guess so. You kind of got to lean into that at some stage, don't you, and just accept it.
Yes.
I used to hate it because it's, I don't know, it feels like Billy Big Bollocks, doesn't it? But when I used to get on a flight and, you have to put your occupation, I just used to put landlord.
Yeah.
A bit more like real.
Yeah.
But now I just put like mogul.
That's great, that.
I don't, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
economy class.
I don't think there's one for my job. Like video editor is a bit weird. It's just like media.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to cringe at the word creative because and I was like, I can't say I'm a creative. Do you know what I mean? That's
a bit loose, that, innit?
Yeah.
Like
creative what?
I like to sit on MacBooks in cafes and that.
Oh yeah.
I always have to put like entertainer or entertainment, which makes me sound
chilled
like
out entertainer.
Yeah, it makes me sound like a clown from children's parties, which I basically am, to be fair.
Very
so,
Brent,
so.
that, innit? I'm just an entertainer.
Yeah, exactly. Just naturally entertaining.
Do you know what? I want to get the Brent impersonator on, not actual Brent.
Yeah, he's mega.
He's mega, right?
Get him in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd
unbelievable.
love to get
Does he
him
do
in.
full character like
Yeah.
he's David Brent the whole time?
Yeah.
That's difficult.
Does his tie and that.
Yeah, it's a difficult
He's
gig.
amazing.
Well, I've not seen. Do you know? I've not seen him. You'll have to show me him.
I will do.
He's wicked.
Jim, we'll start with where I know you from the beginning, I suppose.
Yep.
Threads,
Yes.
legendary Sheffield club night.
Yep. So
Did you? So you was that like one of your first forays into running something, or was that like?
yeah, it was.
Had you been doing bits for some time at that point?
No, that was definitely the first thing. I think. What was I doing at the time? I'd kind of done uni. I went to
Yeah.
Newcastle, studied biology, hated it.
Right.
Loved Newcastle.
Yeah,
Probably
great city.
too much. Hence my degree suffering. Came back to Sheffield. Worked in steelworks in Stocksbridge for a bit.
Yeah.
Saved up some money. Then went travelling. Did that thing.
Where did
Like
you go
a-
travelling?
I went all over. We were away for like best part of a year.
Nice. All right.
Did like Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Malaysia, all that bit.
Yeah.
Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, America. Landed in LA and went across America on Greyhound buses to New York.
I mean, that's sick.
Really good. It sort of ruined my life though, in the way that like I sort of credit it for not wanting to have a normal life after. I think. Or not having like a regular job. I think.
It had a profound effect on you, though.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, we're amazing. You just meet loads of amazing people, and
Yeah.
also it gives you a good sense of how privileged you are
Yeah.
being from, a relatively stable Northern European country.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, loved it, and then I kind of arsed about for a while. Didn't know what I was doing. Then the next job then was selling car insurance at Norwich Union.
Nice.
Where I met Michael Dean.
Great. Dino.
Yep.
Shout out to Dino.
Big John. I think we're working at Aviva then as well.
Shout out to Big John.
Yeah, Reverend. Susie Fowlerton were working there at the same time.
Legend.
A few others.
Would love to get
and
Susie on, actually.
She'd be
she's
wicked
class.
actually. And then me and Dino had this idea of doing a club night.
Yeah.
And the first poster, we were that skint. The first poster was printed on Aviva headed paper because it was free.
But I love that.
So we did the first poster. Forgot to put a genre on the poster because we were just idiots.
Yeah.
Put them all up round town. I got called into the manager's office at Aviva saying we've seen all these posters around town and they're on Aviva headed paper. And I'm like, yeah, sorry about that.
Well, excuse me, what's a Viva headed paper? What is that?
Aviva's like the insurance company.
insurance
so
company.
the headed papers where it says the company's name at the top of the
headers.
page.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Yep.
Did that. Then we started it. It went pretty well straight away. It was timed really well, I think. Like there
Yeah.
were a lot going off in Sheffield.
Yeah.
We were mates with most at bands.
Yeah, so the night was called Threads and it ran at a venue called DQ.
Yeah.
Right? Did it always ran at DQ?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it had DQ recently open when you
Yeah, I think it had.
started putting it on.
Do you remember a game show called The Games? And it was like a sports competition. And it was filmed at Don Valley.
Do. Yeah. I think I do.
We did an after. We were me and Woodhead, the other lad I started it with. We're DJing in pubs, like Old Monk, which is now like Ed Esteem.
Yeah.
Just like on indie night on a Thursday night or whatever, just like arsing around.
Yeah.
And then a lad who were running DQ, Matt Steer, who were running at the time, said, "Oh God, I've got this after show for this game show that's being filmed at Don Valley. I need someone to come and DJ for like 7 hours." I was like, "Yeah, we'll do it." off two iPods.
Yeah.
Like the wheel iPods.
Great.
We were just like, well, it can't be that hard.
Love that.
Did that. Then he said, "Oh, you should do a night." We'd already thought about doing one. Started it, went really well. I honestly can't remember how long we did it for, but I think it was about 8 years it ran.
Yeah.
Which for a club night's a long time.
Mate, it's brilliant. Yeah. I did, I think towards the end, I was there. I think the first one I did was 2011 or 2012.
Yep. I think it started in, I want to say, 07.
Yeah.
Would feel about right.
Yeah. I remember the last ones. You moved it to the Harley for a bit.
Yep. Did a few in there.
Did the odd, instead of doing weekly, you used to do monthly.
Yep.
And one of my favourite ever ones was I don't know if you still do them. Obviously, Picture Houses now.
Not mine.
RIP as one of your venues as of last week, Saturday, which we'll talk about in a bit. But one of the Tramlines after parties, like late night threads.
Yeah.
My God, that was so much fun, man.
It was great, and we had such a good time doing it, but it definitely had a shelf life in terms of like your own physical health. I think like,
oh mate,
you know, doing that until it used to finish at whatever time, 4. And we used to do this thing like, where we're going now.
Yeah.
Which is fucking terrifying.
What was the rum called? Prince Consort.
Oh yeah.
Prince Consort rum has got a lot to answer for some of my hangovers.
Yeah.
From my worst hangovers of my early 20s. Yeah. You came and DJ'd a Threads once, Dave, didn't you, with me? You came and played. We got a gazebo. And we brought a gazebo down and we put it up on stage and hung loads of bunting and lights and stuff on it. And it was my mate from Boston's gazebo. It was like proper techers. And it wasn't one that you like assemble by poles. It was all like folded down, like magnetic and shit. And he was like, oh, you can borrow my gazebo as long as I get it back in one piece.
Oh dear.
And getting it out of DQ at the end of the night, we just couldn't get it down. It was just stuck. And so it got smashed to bits and put in the bin outside. And I remember just being like, getting paid for the night, like 50 quid or whatever, and being like, I've got to give that to Anthony because I've smashed up his gazebo. Yeah. But it was worth it because it was so much fun.
How many years ago was that?
That was 15 years ago now.
Did Threads have the like small stage that? Kind of high.
Yeah, Threads is the small stage that was quite high. Yeah, and the booth monitors that were always turned up like to the max, just piercing your ears.
That was good. That was fun. That was fun. Yeah,
it was great. I had some awful hangovers from DQ, but great times.
And a lot of people it became a hangout, right? I think the nicest thing about it, which I get told even right now, really, is that people used to feel comfortable going on their own.
It was a social,
man. They knew they'd see someone they knew.
For sure. During my era, I suppose it was like Fruits and Tommy and Danny Beck and Charlie Jepson and like all the guys that you just see there every week, like Georgina as well. And you could just turn up and there'd be someone there to say hello to. Stu Curry's often on the door, so you get like a little ribbon on the way in.
Spen on door.
Spen as well. Just trying to think who else was there. And then behind the bar as well, you'd have familiar faces. So it was always somewhere to go. And you said in the early days, you know all the bands and stuff. So I guess that you had.
It became a hangout for them as much as anything else.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing with it, which seems really obvious now, but wasn't at the time, certainly not when we started it, was pretty much all of the club nights. You went for a specific genre. So you went to Tuesday Club for whatever. You did dance music, drum and bass.
Yeah.
You went to Leadmill on a Saturday for indie.
Yeah.
You went to a house night. We just kind of went, well, that's not how people listen to music anymore. I think the advent of like Pirate Bay and LimeWire and all that stuff just totally smashed our people listening to music.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was sort of growing up, you had a certain finite amount of money to buy a CD.
Yeah.
And it kind of forced you to pick your scene, sort of pick your tribe, and be like, right, if I'm gonna spend a $5 in FOP, I'm gonna go and get a record that is like part of my identity. As soon as we all kind of had LimeWire and Pirate Bay and iPods and all that stuff, you just pressed shuffle.
Yeah, that's it.
So I remember one night in there, can't remember who we DJ. It might have been Danny Beck actually.
Yeah,
he played like Jay-Z into At the Drive in One Arm Scissor. And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like,
that's what it's about.
This is ace. Like, no rules, no genres. And it was just a great laugh. But also, I think what we're interested in is the bands that were out at that time, Monkeys, Rev, Milburn, they didn't listen to guitar music.
Yeah.
They weren't interested. Like, everyone listened to Strokes because it's fucking Strokes, so everyone listens
to that. Course. That was like the inspiration, wasn't it?
But like, I remember when maybe second or third one, Elders and Andy DJ'd.
Yeah.
And it were mainly like UK garage.
Nice,
Do you know what I mean? But a few people who'd come down were like, what is going on here? They thought they were going to play like, I don't know, Hot Heat.
Yeah. Well, I remember going to see Monkeys in the early days and them coming out on stage to Dr. Dre. Mm-hmm. I think it was Explosive. I can't remember. It might have been something else. But it was class, and they all came out with their collars up and that. And I was like, but it was reflective of of me and my mates at the time almost as well.
Yep.
Because we listened to Dr. Dre, but we also
Streets.
were fans of the Streets, Arctic Monkeys.
Roots Maneuver.
Yeah. So me and Dave liked heavier music and punk music, and where we grew up, there was a lot of like rock music, wasn't there? And like heavy rock.
Got like thrash metal though. The Indian Queen.
Yeah,
scene,
it was like thrash punk. There was a guy called Marv Gadget. Shout out to Marv, and he used to book bands from like Iceland and stuff.
Wow.
They were like touring indie punk bands that would be like a 4-piece from Iceland coming over playing D beat and stuff. But everyone would go on a Saturday night because it's like what you were saying, like one of those venues where you could just go in and you know people that were there. Community, exactly. Yeah.
The IQ isn't a thing anymore, is it? It's just like a
no. It's sadly it's now called Browns, and it's like a sticky club with shag carpet, and it's pretty.
I just remember the speaker rafters thing where
jumping off the speakers,
and people would climb up and jump off the rafters into the. It was just madness.
Yeah,
I miss that so much.
There's a guy called Joe Chapman that used to front flip off this speaker bracket into a mosh pit of like 12 people. It wasn't that many people, but like those moments like proper special, and that's what you defo created with Threads, and for years after as well. Like it probably had different life cycles of attendees and stuff. And
I remember sort of vividly us not stepping away, but sort of acknowledging that we wanted to get like next generation through.
Yeah,
and we held a competition called Threads Idol,
right?
Which is how I met my wife actually.
Wow. Okay.
She didn't win because she's not a very good DJ, but she
shout out to Amy.
She won the big prize.
Yes, she did. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
In the hot seat. But Fruits, Vanessa came to that, and I was like, she's wicked.
Yeah.
Maybe Danny had already started. Maybe not actually.
Yeah.
But out of that, like we did that. Danny, Vanessa. Amy did end up DJing, obviously. But,
Amy's great.
Yeah.
You know Amy as well.
God,
we DJ'd with Amy when you played for sure. So
I've got some
my
weird.
wife. So it was bonkers, and then
So post Threads, you've run this club night. You've sort of got to the point where you're like stepping away a bit. You opened the Bowery.
Yep, 2009.
This is a very guesstimated version of your timeline, by the way.
That's
there might
right.
be bits in between that I missed out.
Right.
So
No, not 2009, 2008.
2008, you opened
Tramlines 2009.
You opened the Bowery, and that's you and Dino as well.
Me, Dino, and Andy Nicholson.
Original
bass player from Monkeys.
Yeah.
He's got he's got something cool to announce. I won't ruin it.
Is this gold teeth related?
No,
gold tooth related?
No, it's Andy related.
Okay.
You should get him on actually.
Sick, mate. I'd love to. Yeah, it'd be great to talk to Andy.
He's been on an amazing journey, Andy.
I've DJed with him a few times, but I've never really spoken to him like deeper conversation than it's channels 2 and 3, mate. Like,
I'm sure we'll get onto like that stuff, but he's been on a brilliant journey, Andy, and is in a really good place.
Great.
Like become a health freak and
incredible bassist, by the way.
Brilliant.
Seen him recently on Toddler T's.
He's on Kneecap record.
Is he sick? Yeah, that was it because he's on. It was a clip that T posted on Steve's Factory.
He's on like 4 or 5 tracks.
He did, yeah, because he plays the bass line on this clip that I've seen. It's a Steve's Factory one. He plays the Kneecap bass riff, and it's insane.
Yeah,
it's bonkers.
He's wicked.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you, Andy, and Dino
did the Bowery, which was
got together and go, let's
why don't we
open
open a bar, which is, I mean, Jesus.
Well, that's like every man's dream in the early 20s, right?
Yeah. And it was wild again.
Yeah.
But God, we made some stupid mistakes. Like
you gotta make them.
It's the reason I think that the other stuff I've opened has tended to work better because that one was a complete fuck up.
You have to make
it. It was mega.
Yeah.
No one paid for a drink.
Well, that's one.
My tab at one stage got to $3,500. Bar tab.
Fucking hell, man.
And I was like, I can't pay it. I'm never going to there's no way I can pay this back.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It was bananas. It didn't have a cellar. But we had some nights there that I think are still some of my favourite nights I've ever had. The first Rodigan night,
let's go.
Was the best night I've ever had in Sheffield.
Mark Rodigan.
Yeah.
David Rodigan.
Oh, David Rodigan, sorry.
David Rodigan, the reggae DJ.
In a pub with 150 people. Like, it's fucking brilliant.
Was there only 150 in there though, James? I was just say let's go
the second
through.
year got shut down by police.
Was that so? That was Tramlines.
That was over Tramlines weekend.
Was that Tramlines 09, the first
first
Rodigan?
Yeah, we did it as a secret and didn't announce it, and then announced it on the day.
Well, mate, that's not the only time you've done that as well. So there's more than one legendary Bowery gig. Alt J?
Yeah.
That was
150 quid in a case of beers.
That was a huge one, wasn't it?
It was a weird one. I think I booked that 6 months before it broke.
Yeah.
Oddly, I was trying to manage them at the time.
So you also did band management?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't called Alt J, and I forgot what they were called. Bugger. And I went up to Leeds quite a lot to meet them.
Yeah.
They ended up going with another much more experienced guy who was definitely the better option. But I was going to meet him, and they were lovely, lovely lads. And, so at that stage, but that was months before, and I think the only track I'd heard was Breeze Blocks. But obviously, I was like, "This is wicked."
It's going to be the one, isn't it? Yeah.
Within me saying, "Come and do this gig at Tramlines," and saying, "I'll give you 150 quid and like a case of beers," it all kicked off. It'd gone bonkers, and I remember turning up at like midday, and they were on at 8, and people were queuing already. So I'm like, "Oh shit!" And queue went all around onto West Street. Like blocked Aslan's entrance. Just like,
poor Aslan. You ever think of Aslan?
I think people just save me space. I'm going to get some chips and cheese.
Yeah.
But it were wicked. Yeah, that were a good one. We had some other stuff in there. Do you know what? I was doing a list other day
of all the stuff, all the mad stuff you had in
there, and the little room upstairs at Gatsby, which we used to put bands on in. So it's tiny.
So whilst you still had Bowery,
yep.
you opened Gatsby.
Yep. There was an overlap of about a year, maybe.
Yeah. So was that like a conscious choice? Like, I want another venue, or was that like because is that with James?
James Hill, yeah.
Yeah.
It was going to be all of us again, but the other lads, Dino's career had started taking off with Red Bull.
Yeah. So Dino had other sort of things on the go,
and Andy didn't fancy it. So me and James was working. He was going to come on as manager, I think, originally, and then we just said, "Well, should we just do it together?" We had a weird opportunity there where it had been loads of things, Gatsby.
Yeah, it used to be called Olive or something, didn't it? I think
it was Olive when we took it on. But over the preceding 10 years, it'd been one of them sites that I think it had been 4 things in 10 years. No one could make it work.
Yeah.
And we sat down with the building owners, and they gave us what's called like a tenancy at will. And they gave it us for 6 months for £1 a week.
Wow.
And said, if you can show us that you can make it work, then we'll let you sign a lease.
Wow.
So yeah, initially we got it for £1 a week, which is madness. Really.
That's crazy.
I know, yeah.
And then,
but it was a basket case site. It never worked. No one had ever made it work. It was a little bit more grown up than Bowery. It was a bit more of a pub, I guess.
Love the branding as well with that. So I've said this to you privately, but I'll say it to you on podcast as well. Like, one thing that I do love with a lot of ventures that you tend to be involved with is like the look of things. You do pay particular attention to detail, or at least work with people that are good at paying attention to detail.
It is one of my strengths, that one of like the sort of visual element of stuff.
Yeah. We've got to shout out Nick Deacon.
He's been massive. Yeah, I've done all sorts with Nick.
Yeah, so that was Gatsby branding, wasn't it?
Gatsby branding was Nick. Picture House social branding was Nick. Crossed Wires is Nick.
Yeah. Which we'll come to in a bit, hopefully.
I'm sure there's loads of other stuff.
Like, yeah. And so is Nick. So Nick Deacon, graphic designer extraordinaire. Is that an old friend of yours? You've known him for years, or is it just
Nick moved to Sheffield from? I can't remember quite where from. Like, I think his parents are like Wakefield or Huddersfield way or whatnot. I can't remember. Should know. One of my best mates. But he moved to Sheffield sort of a bit later in his life. I think, if I remember rightly, and I don't want to sort of speak out of turn, I think he'd had a breakup and just thought, oh, sod it, I'm going to move to another city. And he didn't know many people. But I met him. He reached out and just said, I feel like I should come and meet you, because I think he just heard we were doing stuff. You know?
Yeah.
And I just really got on with him, and we've been friends ever since.
Nice.
Lovely bloke, wicked illustrator and designer, and just like really cares.
Yeah.
He did public. I think public's maybe his best thing he's done. I think
there's so much stuff you've done. We've got to fit it all in. So you open Gatsby. It becomes like a bit of a roaring success. There was a point where I must say that I think myself and then a bunch of other people that used to go out in Sheffield around that time, we had a route that we would go on. it would be Bowery, Gatsby, Wick, Harley, DQ,
Yeah.
or DQ Harley or whatever. But that was our
strong,
route.
wasn't it?
That was where we went. It was a circle between Division Street and the only sore thumb standout, the Wick on West Street,
Yeah.
and the rest of it was all Division Street. But it was the Gatsby was like the most fun party bar ever.
Yeah.
And then you had an upstairs tiny little function room, which essentially hosted gigs
Yep.
over Tramlines, including at the time they were called Slaves. They're now called Soft Play.
Yep. Isaac and Laurie, yeah. Lovely
Isaac and
lads.
Laurie.
Still sort of talk to them now and again.
Yeah.
Really chuffed for them.
Was that another booking that you were like, oh, I'll give you 100 quid and a case of beers?
Do you know who I think recommended them to me? Lecky.
Shout out to Lecky,
Yeah,
Wet
R.I.P.
Nuns,
Bless him.
R.I.P. Amazing drummer and
Yeah.
just
Because I was managing Wet Nuns.
Cool. So whilst you're running 2 bars, is this simultaneously you move into band management?
Yeah,
So
sort of accidentally.
it was Threads management, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because you still have the email.
Still my email. Not mine.
How are
Incredible.
you doing all of this? Like, as a person who's trying to figure out, like, oh, because I do video editing now, whatever, blah, blah. I don't think I'm going to do this forever.
No.
I'm a person that just wants to get into everything.
Yeah.
And as soon as I'm talking to you, you're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
To someone like me, it's just like, what the? How do you even? What do you start? Do you just say yes to things and they just?
I
happen?
used to. And I probably said yes to too many things. And not all of them worked, if we're being totally honest. Like,
Yeah.
it's people see the successes, right? They don't. The band management thing didn't work. Like,
Yeah.
no one I managed ever really made it.
Yeah.
Beyond, we released a record and it was great and we toured up and down, but it didn't kind of work.
Yeah.
And I found it hard. And obviously, there's some like tragedy that comes with that
Yeah,
as well.
of course.
Obviously, I managed Mabel Love and Ricey passed away.
Yeah.
We helped Gas Club in the early days when we were doing Threads, and we sort of took them around in a van. And then Ricey was in that band as well. And then Tim, the singer, passed away 3 years ago.
My God.
Lecky passed away from
Yeah.
Wet Nuns. So it was hard. It wasn't kind of all plain sailing.
No, of course.
And you see that with creatives that, often there's difficulties with, I mean, it's a bit of a plague, isn't it, with young men, really?
Yeah. Mate, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't all kind of successes, but in terms of kind of workload, it's always too much, and I always do one too many, and then go, oh bollocks.
Yeah.
Like I was in a good place here, and like I was having a life, and then
Jumping a bit further forward, but when I met up with you in the summer, we were talking about Day Fever stuff. But whilst we were talking about Day Fever, you were also opening Leah's Yard, and you had, I think, 5 venues at the time, maybe less than that, I can't remember. But you had a bunch of venues on the go, and you were opening a I don't know what to call it, like a
Leah's Yard.
Yeah, it's like a space, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's an old Mester's workshop in Sheffield.
Yeah.
that was shut for like 45 years. And
Yeah.
me and my business partner there is Tom Wolfenden, who is CEO of Sheffield Tech Parks as well. And
Shout out to Tom.
he's great, Tom. Yeah, and we tendered for it 4 years last August. We opened it in August, just gone. And
Yeah.
it's a kind of the ground floor's mainly retail and food and bev.
Yeah.
So you've got like great local indie businesses in there, like La Biblioteca Bookshop,
Yeah.
Pop Hideout. Pete McKee moved his gallery from Sharavale into Leah's Yard.
Mate, that's a big dick
That
swing.
was amazing. Yeah,
Boy.
I knew when Pete said that we were going to be all right.
Yeah.
I thought like that'll just legitimize it.
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, because I've known Pete because Pete did one of his early exhibitions in the Bowery.
Right.
Maybe like really early after we opened it.
For those that don't know, sorry, just to jump in, Pete McKee is a local artist in Sheffield, but whose works have gone more than worldwide. He's a renowned artist and illustrator, and a member of a band as well.
Heavily Pregnant Brothers.
Heavily Pregnant Brothers.
Yeah, he
thank
does that
you.
as well.
And I've DJ'd with him before as well. Oddly,
Yeah.
he's done all sorts, but
Yeah.
but great guy. Pete, would love to get him on.
He is like proper Sheffield, Pete.
Yeah.
Like Sheffield royalty, you know.
Absolutely. I think there's a point, isn't there, where you become Sheffield. You have a Pete McKee in your house.
Totally.
Yeah. Or you've
Gotta-
lived in Sheffield
Yeah.
You've got to have a Pete McKee
Gotta-
in your house. Yeah.
I've got many Wednesday themed Pete McKees.
Yes.
Yeah, so we did Leah's Yard opened last year. Yeah, so we would do.
Cool.
There's always stuff going on.
Yeah.
really. But yeah.
I'm going to jump back in the timeline just a little bit so we can go from. So you've got Bowery open, you got Gatsby open, you are managing bands, you're touring around. Whereabouts does Tramlines Festival happen? Because you're a founding member of that as well.
Yep, Tramlines was 2009.
Cool. So that's
just before Gatsby, actually.
Just before Gatsby, you did Tramlines. Sorry for the timeline.
Yep.
So
first one, yeah.
How does that come about? Is that a conversation between like-minded people, or is it like a pub meet that turns into a reality? Or
it was the initial idea. Dave Ely, who at the time owned the Harley and Wicket both ends.
Yeah, no, Dave well.
And his crew with like Sarah Nolte, Kate Hewitt. Kate's back working with me on Crosswires. She's doing bookings for Crosswires.
Amazing.
Moved to America but came back. And Tim Cleese. So this is, God, I'll try and do a abridged version of this. Tim Cleesby was the tour manager for Arctic Monkeys.
Yes.
Retired from that job. Had 3 young kids. This is how long ago it is because they've all grown up and left home now.
Yeah, he's moved to the sea.
He's moved to the sea, yeah. Well jealous. He's got like chickens and a lot. So I rang him up. I had this week. Dave said, look, I think it was 10 grand off Monster Energy.
Right.
About 10 grand. We should do like a Camden Crawl thing. Stick some bands in some venues on a weekend.
Great.
Right? In the summer when it's quiet, when students go, get some money in so that we can pay his VAT bills in September. Cool. That was literally the aim.
Yeah.
Maybe we do Arley, Bowery, Washay.
Yeah.
3 or 4 of us.
Yeah.
And we do that. So that was the plan. Then we got talking to some people at council. Richard Eyre was massively important. Richard then was city centre manager. And there was a few other people. Adele and Scott from Plug were sort of thinking about doing a festival thing.
Yeah.
There were a few people having the same idea of like, why hasn't Sheffield got a music festival?
Yes. So the idea is sort of buzzing around in the air a little bit. Yeah.
Then there was this. Then the council sort of suggested that they could put some funding in as well.
Right.
Then the Devonshire Green conversation came to reality, which was like, well, you could do an outside stage in Devonshire Green.
Yeah.
Etc. Etc. We end up having this meeting at the council with Tramlines.
Yeah.
Adele and Scott. I feel like Joe from Sensoria was there as well. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a like, who's gonna get funding to do this music festival?
Yeah.
So the night before, I thought, I need to take someone in with me. Elders had just come back off tour. So I thought,
brilliant.
I just said to him, can you just come to this meeting? I'll never ask you for anything else, which is bullshit. Asking for stuff all the time. Usually guest list. Just be in the room and say, I'm Matt Elders and I'm here to support Tramlines' bid for a music festival.
Brilliant. Fucking nice from Arctic Monkeys.
So, yeah, I just used
from Arctic Monkeys. Got to be good.
Yeah. It definitely helped.
Been on telly.
Yeah. I basically said they can't say no. You were mad. They were like second album, enormous.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the biggest thing in the country.
Yeah.
And I just thought they won't say no.
Yeah.
Like, they can't, can they?
No. 3 number 1 albums behind him. He walks in, he's made it gold, isn't he? Yeah.
And then obviously I talked to my other mates. So first poster, which was designed by Pete McKee.
Yeah.
Had Toddler, John Rev, and Elders on as the characters.
It's amazing.
So I just basically asked my mates and said, come and support this. We think Sheffield needs a music festival. We'll try and do as good a job as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
So Tramlines Festival, when it first started out, just for everybody that doesn't know about it.
Oh, it was free.
Most people listening will probably know how it evolved and how it's changed. It was free, and you could go to anything and everything that was there for completely free, for a number of years really before.
2.
Was it 2? Was it just 2?
2.
09, 010.
No, 09, 010. No, 09, 10.
Yeah.
Then it was a $5. Like we did a nominal thing.
It was very cheap. Yeah.
Then it got progressively more expensive, but only like, remember when we got a load of backlash when it were like 30 quid?
Yes.
Like,
was that when the main stage also moved a couple of times? So it moved from Dev Green because it was just too big, wasn't it?
I mean the police on the first one were like, this is fucking nuts. Like,
was it Mystery Jets the first?
They did a night, but John Rev did a headline the last night, I think.
Yeah.
Second year, we had like Echo and the Bunnymen, other stuff. Honestly, I'll have to look back. It becomes a blur.
Yeah.
Then we moved main stage to Ponderosa.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you're still involved with Tramlines at this time, whilst running 2 bars at least, and some band management.
Yeah.
And
What I would say with
Dave's
that,
head's
though,
falling off over in the corner.
what I would say with that is
stressing.
well, yeah. I mean, I did used to like curl up in a fetal ball and cry. Do you know what I mean? Like on bed. Like, if you ever got Amy on, she'd tell you. So
you seem in a good place now, though.
I am.
So
yeah.
It's all worked out in the end.
Yeah, just like loads of trauma.
Get it out, mate. It's what you're waiting for.
We're literally called Depressed CEOs.
yeah.
The name of the podcast.
But what I would credit with that is, and this is true for a lot of my stuff, if we're being totally honest. You say, how do I do it? I don't really. So Tramlines, Sarah Nolte and Tim Cleesby basically deserve the majority of the credit for what happened with that festival.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm good at, I think, is having a good idea, being really passionate about it, making other people passionate about it, building good teams, and sort of being a bit of a rabble rouser.
Yeah.
Like, what do I actually do?
Yeah, so you're finding your place.
Yeah.
I'm going through all these questions at the minute. I'm like,
yeah.
what am I fucking good at?
Yep, and I'm not sure what I think, like, I'm strategically smart, and I'm good at, like, knowing what the flow of something should be, or knowing what it should look like, and kind of, but it's all quite kind of ephemeral. It's not like I'm skilled at something.
See, that's where I kind of like love
technical.
I love all.
See, I'm not
this. So
really
like,
that technical.
Yeah.
our nicknames are Tech and Prep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like
there's
a lot of
always
stuff.
there's Cleesby. If I do anything big, Cleesby's on it. That's why I got him to do Crossed Wires. The guy's
big
like,
up Tim, by the way, like absolute legend. I
What
ran
does Tim do?
So
production manager is still production manager for Tramlines.
What is
Actually,
a fucking production? You just
yeah.
manage a production.
The whole of Tramlines as an entity is a production, because it's like a festival being produced or whatever. So Tim is the guy with the headset on that is overseeing everything. So in the corner, some guys like, Tim, there's 15 toilets here, just been pushed over.
Yeah.
3 lads kicked and shit. What do you want to do about it? Tim's like, I'll be right there, bring the forklift over. Or he'll delegate somebody to go and deal with that.
That sounds fun. I
plan
like that.
for the whole site.
Yeah.
I say fun. It sounds like
Hyper
something
stressful.
It's a lot of hours, and it's a lot of intense like preparation.
Is
and
it
then
something different though all the time?
I don't know. I guess there'd be different problems. I guess that would arise.
Because I like problem solving.
I mean, you can remember when like
Some of your favourite problems from Tramlines?
I mean, we could go through a few.
We've got another.
I mean,
hour.
we had there was a thing on the first year that actually was nothing to do with us. It turned out, but like there was a gang incident and someone got stabbed on the weekend.
Oh fucking hell!
So straight away, the Star were going to run this piece of like someone gets stabbed at Tramlines, and I was like, do not print that until we've talked to the. It wasn't anything to do with Tramlines. It was like another part of the city.
One thing I just want to jump in there with is, hey, this is where you're quite good, because you know who to contact to not run that piece. Had they contacted you guys to say that they were going to run it, or did you know that?
I knew to talk to.
Yeah, it's connections that you're good at connections and all that. So sorry, carry on.
Yeah, and then there were all sorts. There's always them. Festivals are mental. Like it's
Absolutely.
362 days work, and then hope it doesn't rain. It's just ridiculous. Like a month out, you're going, looking at the forecast, going, oh shit. I mean, like. And it can like make or break you.
Yeah.
Then obviously we do it for years. We move it to Hillsborough. Sarah passes away, which is just fucking horrid for everyone involved.
Yes, absolutely. R.I.P. Sarah.
Yeah,
Legend.
And at that time we were getting offers to sell it, and I think we'd done a lot of years.
Yeah.
I think I did it we sold it in 20. I mean, even this is ridiculous. We sold it in February 2020.
Yeah.
Lockdown happened a month later.
Yes, so yeah.
And the festival
COVID's already
didn't
kicking
happen
off
that
around
year.
the world. Yeah.
Now, I think if we'd have owned it when COVID happened, we'd have gone bust.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened.
I don't think it would have ever happened again.
Yeah.
And
some of my favourite memories of Tramlines were the 2018, 2019 ones. 2019 in particular, because I know that we'd lost Sarah, but it was so special.
It was amazing that weekend.
That year in particular was so special because it was like finally her vision and everything that she'd worked so hard
named after her.
towards. The main stage is named after her. Yeah. The weather was beautiful.
Who headlined? Noel.
I think so. One of the nights. Do you know what? I can't even remember who I watched that year.
I feel like Noel did it, and I knew it with me. I think I knew it with my last one.
Yeah, but that's a special one.
I had a big blub.
That's a special one as well, isn't it? Like that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there was all the emotion. There was a lot of emotion that weekend, obviously.
Yeah.
I think even like just people just rallied to even make it happen. I think it was fucking wild.
Do you still go? I
love going.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it.
You go as a punter, you just walk around, you just enjoy it.
Yeah. And I don't have to if I see Tim, I give him a big hug.
Yeah.
Because he's got an earpiece saying like 14-year-old collapsed in tent 3. And I'm just like, I'm going to go and watch Self-Esteem, mate. He often just gives me a look like, fuck off. So, I mean, that was an 11-year journey and loads of mad fucking escapades. And then,
So whilst Tramlines is also picking up steam, moving sites, going from a free festival to a paid festival to the gigantic behemoth that you ended up... Behemoth? How did you say that?
Behemoth.
There we go. Behemoth that you ended up selling.
Yep.
Also, 2015, you and James decide to open Picture House Social.
You know dates much better than me.
I remember that one opening because I was living in Leeds and I had my friend over from Germany.
Yep.
And it was Tramlines 2015 and you brought back Club Pony.
We did.
My fucking God. That
Mike Forrest.
Mike Forrest on the Sunday of Tramlines 2015, genuinely one of the best nights out of my entire life.
Yeah.
And Picture House Social was relatively new, so I think it opened that year or maybe the year before.
September before.
Yeah. There you go. So you've also now taken on this great big bar
that was crackers as well,
out of town.
Yeah,
so at this point, Abbeydale Road in Sheffield
isn't what it is now.
If people know it was like there was Bragassi's coffee shop,
which is a mega,
which is amazing,
and still amazing.
Yeah, and then
it was the Broadfield,
assorted few other things, and then they opened a pub called the Broadfield.
So to be fair to Kane, who owns True North, we've always sort of, and we'll come back to Kane obviously because he's bought Abbeydale Picture House.
Right, I didn't know that. Right, okay.
So, which I'm really excited about, and it's another kind of positive thing that's happened.
Yes,
So we'd opened Broadfield. Loads of us kind of lived around there.
Yeah.
And what he's always been amazing at, and to be fair, there's not really Division Street without Kane either, because obviously opening the Forum 20 years ago, whenever it was, kind of changed that street as well. He's a bit of a visionary, I think, in terms of like finding what neighbourhoods and stuff need. He did the Broadfield. I walked into the Broadfield about 3 weeks after it opened, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It was fucking packed.
That gaff was rough before he opened it as well.
Yeah, well dodgy before. We used to go in after playing five-a-side, and it was rough.
Yeah.
Like people went there to buy drugs.
It was spit and sawdust.
That's what it was. Drug dealers just sat in corner and stuff, like dodgy.
Yeah.
And he obviously had the vision to do it. And we looked and I went down, it was called Bar Abbey then. It was a bar under Abbeydale Picture House. And he had a snooker hall, and it was a bar. It was owned by a fella called Andy. It was lovely, actually. And a guy called Phil owned the building. He'd bought Abbeydale Picture House in an auction. I think he owned like Climbing Works for like naffle.
Yeah.
Like, slightly over 100 grand for this like enormous, fucking massive old theatre. Then obviously you get in the thing and you're like, oh, it's completely knackered. Like
oh God, yeah.
You're gonna have to spend, I don't know, 200 grand on the roof. Like it's it's mental. It's that building.
Yeah.
And where had I been? I always like everyone. Oh, you have such original ideas. They're all ripped off. I'd like. I were going to Berlin on holiday a lot, or I were going to New York or wherever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't remember what I don't. Broodnell was a big.
I was
a big influence.
I was going to say I lived in Leeds at the time, and when you opened it, I was like, it's Broodnell Social Club for Sheffield. It's great.
Yeah, it was a bit that. I mean, obviously, what Nathan's done with Broodnell, it's the best venue in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I was doing a lot of gigs. I was taking a lot of bands there, and I just kind of got to know Nathan, and I just saw that, and I was like, that's out of town.
Yeah,
in a student area.
Yeah.
It was an old working men's club, Broodnell, but this is like an old snooker hall.
Yeah.
It was definitely a kind of influence.
There was shout out to Nath Broodnell as well in Leeds. It's
unbelievable.
It's an amazing live music venue. If you don't know it, like it's what's the area called? It's not. Is it Hyde Park or is it?
Yeah, it's near there.
It's like Hyde Park sort of area of Leeds. Yeah, it's an old social club. Pints are cheap.
Yeah,
bands are amazing.
His bookings are nuts.
Yeah. I've been to see punk bands there. I've been to see Melly Mel. I've been to see Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Like they're all over the place. Yeah. It's great.
It's wicked.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd do that. So we kind of went down there. It's big, obviously. It's 10,000 square foot, which is bigger than anything else we'd done before.
Yeah. Ambitious.
Yeah. Ambitious or stupid.
So it was that you and James that took that on as well? Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did that. So we did it again with Ben and Ben Pickup, who I own Fagans with, who always builds the bars.
Right, yeah.
So Rocket Design, not call it that now, BP Joinery.
BP Joinery.
So he built Public, built Picture House Social, done the Pearl recently.
Yeah.
Up in Park Hill.
Yeah, shout out to the Pearl and Ronnie and
Jack, who works for me at Public.
There's so many little crossovers there. You just need to fill these in for everyone at home. But so we're at Picture House Social on Abbeydale Road. Everything's been built. Joinery,
BP Joinery built it, yeah. Ben and Grindle. Although 3 days before we open is when Ricey passes away.
Oh,
so we get the news. Martin Cotton rings me and tells me the lads Ben and Grindle who were in Gas Club with Ricey.
Yeah.
They're building the bar. I have to go in and tell them the news.
Oh, God.
So that we're just down tools, and we were going to open in like 3 days, but we all just went up to Hillsborough, Mailing Bridge, to a pub called U Tree to kind of meet everyone, all his mates, and we just kind of got pissed. And then somehow they managed to get it open. I don't really know how, but we managed to get it open. But I remember like the opening of that one not being that exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember being like, oh God, I'm in my head's elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
But then it kind of worked.
Oh, mate, it was very exciting. And I think also with my sort of timeline, my sort of age, me and my friends were done with being in town on a Friday and Saturday night.
A bit.
It was nice to go out of Sheffield to go somewhere that we knew was going to be. It felt like going out on Division Street and West Street, but a grown-up version of. We knew the tunes were going to be good because the DJs were great. Who did you have on? Ashley. Ash.
He was great.
Oh my God. DJ. Ash DJing every Saturday.
Yeah, Ashley Holmes did every Saturday.
Yeah.
Tom J did Thursdays, I think.
Yeah. So the music was always.
We were always wicked, yeah.
Yeah, and then pizzas, which were great.
Yeah.
Good cocktails, good booze. So that's happening like 2015-ish.
Yep.
And then also all this other stuff's going on, tramlines, blah blah blah, all that. And then you decide to open a bar in a toilet.
Yep.
Was that next?
The natural next step, isn't it?
Yeah.
2017. Yeah.
Dave's head's fully gone here, by the way. How is this man doing all this stuff?
So 2017, I was in a meeting in the council about a scheme called Renew Sheffield.
Right.
And it was a list of all the buildings that they owned.
Yeah.
And could you give them away cheap to? I wasn't even meant to. I was like it's almost like an advisory thing.
So you get called in
I
this
see a list
like
of
a business
buildings.
owner.
Yeah, I get called in as like a advisor, I guess. So,
okay.
And almost to say, well, I know someone who wants to start a bookshop, or I know someone and they could do it there, and
because you're a connected man.
Yeah.
So this is your value.
Maybe.
This is
and on the bottom of this list is Gents Toilet next to Town Hall, and I was like, I want to look at that. Again, it's not the first bar in a toilet. There's Temple in Manchester. There's loads in London. There's a few in London. And I went downstairs, and the first thing I kicked into was a needle exchange bucket because it had been shut for.
Oh, God.
I was like, Jesus Christ. Condom machine.
Yeah.
And obviously it stunk of piss because it's just an old toilet.
Yeah.
Been shut for ages. It just stank. And I thought this would make the perfect cocktail bar. So
Naturally, yeah.
So I remember like emailing the council and going, I'd like to lease that. And they went, we don't know what to charge you. It's a toilet. I'm like, well, don't charge me very much then. And
do you know what the price was? Just out
power.
of pure interest.
I can tell you now because we've signed a proper lease now, so it's kind of them days are gone. But I think we got it like a year for free.
Nice.
They didn't.
That's the vibe.
It's council owned. They couldn't put any money in. We had to like literally go in and rip. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, so it wasn't for free.
It wasn't for
you
free
had
because we had to go in and rip it out.
Rip it, you had to rip it.
How,
You've
how'd
seen
you get
how big that is. It's tiny, right? 24 seats.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
seen
yeah.
how big picture house is.
Yeah.
10,000 square foot.
Yeah.
They cost the same money,
Oh shit.
Shit, okay.
which about sums it up.
Yeah.
Not just north of 100 grand then.
Yeah.
Which was a lot, obviously.
Mate, to make the money back on that as well with the space, it's like because it's such a small space.
It's got to be.
It'll take longer.
It's got to be full all the time,
Yeah.
and it's not cheap. Because it's not cheap. Like the drinks the guys are making down there
Yeah.
are really good.
Your vision for public is high end cocktails.
Yeah.
So at that point, you get a guy called
Jack Wakelin,
Wakelin.
who was already working with us at Picture House.
Yes. So Jack, I've known for many years from DJing in bars. He was doing other bars in Sheffield before that. Moved over to Pitch House, doing amazing cocktails.
Yeah.
Real groundbreaker.
Yeah. Wicked.
Just
Proper talented.
Just brilliant cocktailsman. There's probably a proper name for it.
Is it mixologist? He'd hate that. He'd hate that.
Is that the word for it?
It is, yeah.
Mixology.
Yeah, yeah.
He was not having that.
He's a cocktailsman.
Yeah.
So what do they call they still call Subway makers sandwich artists, don't they?
Yeah.
That's some crazy
Keep
names
that
for people.
fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get Jack involved, and you decide to do food in the toilet as well.
Yep.
And at that point, you get my man Ronnie involved.
Yep. Who
I'm
was
just
working at the
picturing
Wick.
toilets, man. I'm just picturing.
Yeah.
I need to see that. You're talking about all these places. I'm
Right.
fascinated. I need
Let's
to see all
go.
of these.
Is it open tonight?
Yeah.
Let's go for a drink public after this.
Yep.
Be sick.
Have we not got another one to do though?
No, we'll fit it in.
Well, okay. All right.
We'll fit it in.
Yeah, sick. I'd
Um,
love to. Yeah, mate. I'd love to. Yeah.
So you get the best cocktail maker in the city, arguably, and the best chef in the city, arguably,
Yep.
involved.
Yep.
To knock up something real special.
Yep.
And
I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be like and I don't mean this in like a posh thing, because I don't really view things like that. I don't view things like that. I don't think that like nice things are for posh people. I think that's bollocks.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be the best cocktail bar in Sheffield, not just in Sheffield. Actually, I wanted to aim really, really high.
Yeah.
Like I wanted it to win national awards, because I always got pissed off when we used to go to like awards things, and it was 75% London, a smattering from Manchester, and Edinburgh, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's bollocks. Let's try and get some.
And since just to put this in context, since then it has been featured in quite a lot of.
We've seen the top 50 bars in the country every year since that award started. The year after it opened, Guardian named it best place to drink in the country. So like,
do you have like? Do you have to invite these people to come and see it?
No, we didn't know.
There's literally just they just turn up.
Yeah, Guardian one we didn't have a clue.
Nice.
It was the year after we opened, I got an email saying we're going to name in Observer Food Monthly Awards. We're going to name you as the best place to drink in the UK. I'm like, oh, thanks, like.
So objective achieved, big tick.
It was lovely, yeah.
Smashed it.
Yeah.
And still doing bits to this day.
It's. Do you know what? It's busier than it's ever been public.
Brilliant.
It's.
We might not get in, Dave.
We might not, genuinely. It's 8 years in November, and since coming out, I mean, COVID was just fucking awful for like everything.
Yeah. Mate, for you at that time, how many bars did you own?
In the space of 2 days, I closed seven bars.
Fucking hell.
And then went home, sat on settee. Amy were like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I don't know." Because I genuinely, at that bit, it was wild, wasn't it? At that bit, I was like...
Was that when the government's telling everyone, stay at home, do not go out, but then saying to you guys, you've got to stay open though.
Yeah.
You can't close. Yeah, there was no furlough plan. There was no
one knew about furlough.
Yeah.
I remember the week after's wages, and me and Jim put like 20 grand each in. to like pay staff. And I was like,
Yeah.
we can only do like me and him could only have done that for a couple of weeks, and then we'd be like, sorry guys, like,
Yeah, that's all of our
no
life's
one's
work
getting
gone.
more.
Yeah.
It's fucking scary. But we oddly. So anyway, public, yeah, it was. I'll go back to the COVID thing because it is fairly interesting. But
Mate, of course, yeah.
it was obviously really hard and impossible in that place because it's so small. Like social distancing in there, what you're going to get 6 people?
Yeah,
No point in
can't do it.
Like, it's impossible.
Yeah.
And it's underground. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
But last 2 years have been the busiest years it's ever had. This year's
Brilliant.
up, and so it's like it's become. I think if you come to Sheffield and you're not from Sheff,
Yeah.
you get given a list of like, do that, do that, do that, do that. It's arguably public, bench, Euro, I would suggest. And then like classic pubs.
Yeah.
You know, boozers.
Just shout out to Bench as well. So Bench is eventually Ronnie and Jack teamed up together to run their own venue.
Went off and did bench.
Yeah.
Which we that's one of the biggest buzzers. That is when you bring people through.
Yeah.
And they go, I want to go and open my own thing.
Yeah.
Like that's our city's improve. Like that's
do you know what? One thing I was going to ask you is like how is it for you when you see that? Is it first a bit of a oh shit, I've just lost the best chef and the best cocktails?
It's not, not really.
No.
I always think like a business has got to be resilient enough to survive without a member of staff, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
the core concept isn't good enough. Like if it's relying on Jack working in public for 15 years, it's not going to make sense. But he set the foundations and the standards.
Yeah.
And then we've always been able to have good staff because he set those standards there.
Yeah.
And the team now are wicked. Like they're brilliant. Super passionate about it.
Great.
I mean, you've got to be there. You've got to like be obsessed because they are. Like that. That's the job. But yeah, Jack and Ron went off and did bench. But now we all 3 of us own Pearl together. So
great. So I didn't know that you were involved with that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we had a chat again and like we like each other. Should we go back into business with each other? And we did.
Awesome.
This time as owners, they're not my staff. They own the business with me. So
amazing. So Pearl is Park Hill Flats.
Yep.
Which is
the biggest Grade 2 listed building in Europe.
There you go. The biggest Grade 2 listed building in Europe. Subject of some controversy. Some people love it. Some people hate it.
I love it.
It's for me, it's a Sheffield landmark. It's
my nan lived on Talbot Street, which is the road on the top.
Yeah.
So I kind of remember Park Hill being like a feature in my life.
Yeah.
Used to walk through it. So I used to get on bus. We lived in Shire Green, and I used to get on bus.
Yeah.
Get off at bus station and kind of walk up through the station and through the flats. And then I remember the moment when Nan were like, "You're gonna have to walk round. Don't walk through the flats."
Right.
Because it just started getting like
bit
proper
spicy
rough.
around there.
And then I kind of remember it all obviously being derelict and almost
when I got here, it was derelict. It was very sad, but they couldn't do anything with it. And then the regeneration project has been really interesting. The view from above for me is like the way that it's shaped and everything is so
mad.
Yeah, it is. It's
amazing building.
It was like futuristic in the 60s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah, and it was like a wonderful place to live by all accounts at first. Fascinating features like they made the walkways wide enough to get a milk van down.
My dad said he used to go to Northern Soul Do's. One of his mates lived in the flats, and he said he'd probably been on a few, snifters or whatever in the night, and he'd be like, I don't know if this was real or not, but they used to see a milk float in the morning. Yeah. Driving up and down the flats. Yeah. I'm not sure if it was real or not.
Yeah. Wild.
Mental.
But it was meant to be like, utopian.
Yeah.
And then whatever happened and it fell into disrepair. But it kind of dominates the skyline, right, behind the station. So I think it's great that it's kind of got a new lease of life now.
Whilst we're on Sheffield stuff, just briefly, had one question sent in.
Oh, did you?
Someone wants to know what your favourite river in Sheffield is.
Oh, God. What are they? Don, Sheaf, Loxley.
John's done a video on this recently.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, he loves it, doesn't he?
He loves history. He's a history student, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he did
philosophy. And
obviously, we went to school together.
He spoke to us about the pyramids when he was there.
He's obsessed.
Vibing about the pyramids.
He's writing a book at the minute, which I won't ruin because I don't want to tell anyone. But
brilliant.
He's perhaps like there's a few kids I went to school with who I would consider super, super smart, and he's one of them.
I was going to say to you, like, so you grew up in a similar area to John.
So
in Sheff?
I were born in Winkerbank, and then we moved to Shire Green. We lived in a couple of houses in Shire Green, and then that were getting a bit edgy. And me and my brother, we moved to Deepcar when I were about 12,
right?
I think. And my younger brother Tom, there's just me and him. It were getting a bit edgy. There were a few instances of like stuff happened in the neighbourhood where my dad got in a bit. There was something happened at like a working men's club. I don't know. I can't remember really. I can remember. I just don't want to like dob him in. Just don't want him to get arrested.
It's fine. Allegedly,
don't want him to get arrested 30 years later.
Yeah,
for getting his mates to smack someone with a snooker cue. And
allegedly.
Yeah. No CCTV in them days. And then we moved to. Then we moved to Deepcar, which was like it was like going to Emmerdale, you know, like from going from Shire Green to Deepcar, we're like, oh my god, there's fields and sheep and stuff.
Yeah.
But I were already at Notre Dame. Went to St Pat's Primary at Lane Top, and then went to Notre Dame, which is where I met Big John and Eddie from Rev. They were at my school. Millburn lads were a few years below.
Yeah.
Adam O'Malley and Nick O'Malley Monkeys were there.
Yeah. There's some kind of magic about that.
It's an odd group. It's a wild group of mates. Yeah. Like, we do talk about it because it is weird. Like,
so much of Sheffield's cultural history in that. In
a weird group of friends, it is odd. Like, and I think, what's the term? You can't be what you can't see. So like, it took one of them to do something. And then everyone else went, well, I'm not having a fucking boring job if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember.
That's great.
I remember,
that
like.
Makes sense. I get that.
And everyone, what it is as a group of friends as well is, like, it's super supportive. So, like, we all want each other to do really bloody well. Do you know what I mean? Like.
Mate. Must feel proper special. Like, I've seen, I think we follow your TikTok, but one of your videos you've put up, you don't put too much up, but one of them's just you stood side of stage watching. It's a thing you've described as. Like
I'm on TikTok. You sure it's mine?
Yeah, I think so.
Might be a fake account.
Maybe someone's faking it, but it's a video of you side of stage watching Arctics walk out. And I think it was at Hillsborough, and it says something like about to watch the best band in the world walk on stage or something like that.
That's not my account.
Is it not?
Was it fuck?
Someone's ripped you off, mate. They've called themselves James
weird,
O'Hara and all sorts.
Yeah. I mean, it's that. Yeah.
Show us that.
I'll try and find that.
I'll find you the clip and I'll show you. But I was like, you must have been side of stage and watched John and watched Arctics and just gone fucking.
It's wild.
Get in there.
Oh yeah, it's mental. Like,
that's great.
It's beautiful and like. There will be no one stops either, which is wild. So everyone still carries on doing stuff.
Yeah.
There will be a moment when we're like all 60 odd and we'll probably be sat snug in Fagans and just be like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Like
what I think about, like, technically is like you're not really at a normal job.
No.
So, like, do you ever think about like a pension or what you're going to do when you do retire and it's like
all
over?
It's a good question. Thanks for asking.
Sell
Jesus.
some assets.
I think about that.
I have one, but it's crap. Job. Like, I've got a brilliant account. In fact, the most important person to that entire group of friends is a woman called Janine, who's our accountant.
Shout out to Janine, the accountant.
Janine Morton. She was 45 last week, so happy birthday, Janine. And I couldn't go to her birthday because I were in Aberdeen. It's a long story. I feel bad not for going. And she gets hold of young morons, and makes sure that they're going to be all right. So when I name the
Sounds
people,
like my accountant.
When I name the people she's an accountant for, you go, oh, that's how they've got houses.
Right.
John McClaw, Toddler T,
great.
Andy Nicholson, me,
nice,
and everyone else bring me the horizon lads. All them.
Brilliant.
Like if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have houses.
An integral cog in the Sheffield creative scene.
She's like, she's amazing.
See, I'm worried about this now. Like, as just a small time video, I'm like, I've got no pension.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you're gonna be asset rich. Don't worry about it, mate. You're gonna have a world famous podcast.
Yeah, well, this is it, right?
Yeah, printing money podcast now.
Yeah.
Yes, so, I don't know. Yeah, she's amazing. So
that's sick,
mate. First of all, do you want a little break so you can have another drink? We get you a Guinness.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. We don't normally do this. So have a little break and then cut back in.
Yeah,
is that right?
Sure, yeah.
Sounds good.
Cheers, mate. I thought I'd just get you another Guinness in, so we can continue the conversation. But so we were just talking in the break. You were saying that you lived above the Gatsby
For 8 years, yeah.
for 8 years.
Yep.
Um,
I didn't give a shit about being skint.
Yes.
All I cared about was, I don't know why actually, and like this is probably not a scab we want to start picking, but I've never really understood, and me and my brother are the same, which is really weird. There is like a sort of furious ambition there.
Yeah.
There has to be, right, for me to even
Mate,
consider
of course,
doing it.
yeah. For all the things that you're doing simultaneously, of course.
But it's not. I don't know what it's never been driven by money. Weirdly, it's like I don't really give a shit. And I didn't give a shit then. There's a deep love of Sheffield, which is almost like psychotic. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Can't quite put my finger on it. Because I just fucking love it, and
Yeah.
I kind of feel like protective of it as well. And like if someone slags it off, I'm fucking well pissed off. You know, like even if it's right.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like Fargate's crap. I'm like, yeah, but it'll be great one day. So shut up. You know what I mean? Like weirdly, I don't feel patriotism for. Not really. That's
Not for the country,
not really.
but for where you're
Sheffield.
for Sheffield.
Not even not Yorkshire. I don't know when you go to gigs and they sing that Yorkshire chant.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't give a flying fuck about Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Like, I just care about Sheffield. And like,
Where does that stem from?
I don't know.
When I was describing
Sheffield.
what you do to Dave, like to help him prep for this podcast, I was like, you're a business owner, but all your businesses are they've all furthered Sheffield's reputation.
That's sort of the
you,
plan.
You
Yeah.
serve the creative industries of Sheffield. Like with your latest venture with Leah's Yard, it houses independent Sheffield businesses. It gives them a place to be and to flourish.
the reason
as
for that,
part
yeah.
of a big community, which is, I mean, I don't know if this is a great thing to say right now, but Keir Starmer came down to check Leah's Yard out.
You've done your research
when he was in the city.
I gave him a tour. Yeah,
You did, yeah.
I give him a tour around. Weirdly, he plays football with Susie's brother.
Okay. Wow.
So we had something to talk. Do you know what? We were outside and there were loads of press there, and we were all like hard hat gear.
When was this, by the way?
Just about a year before we opened it. I'm going to say 2023.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He was the leader of the opposition at that time. He wasn't the prime minister. But
That's right, yeah. And there were cameras outside, and it was, whatever, look north and all that. That he'd come to visit Sheffield and he was having a tour around Leah's Yard. And in front of the cameras, he was, statesmanly, let's say.
yeah.
He was doing the, what's the thing that Blair used to do? The kind of thumbs.
Plays guitar
the
and that.
patter
I love Oasis. I love Oasis.
Bloody great band.
And
And,
pattern. They've all got that kind of.
and he was doing that.
Trump
and,
does a little bit different.
He was doing his
also.
job. That's his job, right? That's what a
Yeah,
politician's
of
job.
course.
He was like a good orator and speaking really well, and I said a bit of chatting. But when I thought, I actually want to talk. If I get a chance, I want to talk to him on a level. I don't want to do this like sort of politics speak spiel walking around the place. As soon as I got in, I said, you play five-a-side on a Thursday with Jim Fullerton. And he were like, what? Because he probably could still play five-a-side then. I'm sure he can't now.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Jim, yeah, I love Jim. I goes, oh, Susie were managing Gatsby and Picture House. She was ops manager at that time.
Yeah.
So it kind of disarmed him a bit. And then I had a good chat with him, like
Nice.
about Leah's Yard and about how important culture was to cities.
Yeah.
And how, like, there's some pretty damning stats on things like Arts Council funding in Sheffield.
Yes.
And
Why
we
is that?
There's a number of reasons. So there's some stat. I'm going to get the figures wrong, but the message is correct. Our funding per head from the Arts Council in Sheffield is something like £4.25. In Manchester, it's like 28 quid. So the disparity is mental. Like, it's hugely different. There's a few reasons for that. One is we are bad at asking for things
Yes.
as a city.
Mm-hmm.
Two is we haven't shown enough ambition ourselves, if we're being totally honest.
Right.
So as a city, we will go and say something like, and again, this is paraphrasing, we'll go and say, please, sir, can we have 50 grand to put on a 3-month pop-up exhibition about whatever? And Arts Council will go, well, that's not very exciting. Just no. Manchester will go, we want 200 million quid to build Aviva Studios.
Yeah.
And they'll be fucking arrogant about it.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's
And
one
Burnham
thing I've
will
learned from
Burnham
living
will
in
come
there.
out in a CP jacket and a nice pair of wallabies and like hammer it. Do you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
they're good at it, right?
Yeah.
And we're not them, and we're not them, and we shouldn't try and be them. But there's a bit of us which is improving, where we've got to start celebrating our successes more and celebrating the city's strong points.
100%.
It's happening.
Man.
It is happening. You can feel the sort of the pride starting to come back a bit, and I think things like Lear's Yard and Cambridge Street and that kind of bit of the city, and then obviously now Cole Brothers has been bought by Urban Splash, who did Park Hill.
Yeah.
It'll start to come back, but you've got to give people that pride. But I think as a city, traditionally, we've been bad at celebrating what we're good at and not as ambitious as we should have been.
What's Sheffield best at, in your opinion?
I think it's a massive cliche, this, but like it was known as a city of makers, right? But and that meant manufacturing. My dad worked for British Steel all his life.
This studio right now is an old kettle factory.
Yeah.
So
Yep. We make stuff. Now it's culture. It's art and music and TV, right? Like and cinema. Like
absolutely.
I own Fagans with the two the CEO and CFO of Warp Films.
So
Adolescence is now the most viewed limited series in Netflix history.
Ever.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like Baby Reindeer's been out 2 years. It's smashing it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's Mark and Niall. Mark, who lives in Loxley and has newts and only cares about his messaging me about his newts in his pond.
Future podcast guest, by the way. He's coming on.
He'd be great. And talk to him about his fucking newts. He's got ducks now. He's obsessed with ducks now.
Remember
Sick.
that one.
Yeah. How can we forget?
And then Niall, I've moved out of my house at a minute because I'm getting some new bifolds in.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Doing
lad.
all right now. Not above Gatsby anymore.
Fucking gets in, lad.
And so I'm living at Niall's house. He's got like a flat on his back garden. And that's them two lads, and they've just made that company's just made Adolescence.
Yeah.
And it's not the biggest thing in the UK. It's the biggest thing in the bloody world.
Yeah.
Can I just say a video editor's dream?
What? Yeah, no.
One shot.
It's a wanna.
Yeah. One
so
shot.
as
Just,
a video editor,
just a colour grade on that, is it, mate?
Just a colour grade you want? Yeah.
I saw Mark after that though, and you like, Jesus Christ, the stress of that, fucking unbelievable.
Yeah,
the third episode was the 14th take.
I haven't seen the third one. I'm only 1 and 2, but it's just nuts. Already, it's just
that's
nuts.
a 14-hour shoot, isn't it? Or longer.
No,
than that.
it's 14 days because you're going to do 2 a day.
Do you know if it's like ad-libbed or at all, or it has to be?
I think
surely.
bits of it. I think the third ep, which I won't ruin because you've not seen it, but there was some bits in that were a bit ad-libbed.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess the point is like
stunning.
we make amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Do we shout about it enough? Not really.
Yeah. There's kind of a humbleness to Sheffield that I always admired, but then moving to Manchester, I was like, it is the silence is deafening sometimes.
Yep.
And the amount that people go, oh Sheffield, like Sheffield's what's good about Sheffield? I'm like, have you been?
Yeah.
Like you need to go.
Yeah.
There's so much
there
good
is
shit
some-
happening here.
I guess for the kind of I'm going to turn into like politics guy now, but
No, go for it, man.
But for the future and like prosperity of the city, that hiding your light under a bushel thing isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Like, there's great things about this city, but what it's missing is a load of better jobs for people.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you're gonna attract companies to move their offices here and invest in the city, you've got to start shouting about what you're good at. Because if a company knew the kind of the food and hospitality thing's miles better than it ever was.
Oh yeah, stunning.
We're still creating amazing art. We've still got great museums. We've still got beautiful green space.
Yeah.
If you could kind of shout about that better, you would get more companies want to move in offices. Then that would improve the job situation. Then that would improve people's lives. And I think I just want us to celebrate things more, which we are doing actually. If we were doing this 3 or 4 years ago, I would have been a lot more doom and gloom. But we've got some really good people in important places now, politically speaking.
Amazing.
So Kate Joseph's the CEO of Chief Executive Council is great. Oliver Coppart, local mayor's great, and Tom Hunt, who is the leader of the council, is wicked as well. So.
Nice. So there's a good team of people looking after Sheffield to an extent.
It's almost
at
not
the
a
moment.
coincidence. Like they're all early 40s.
Yeah.
Tom might not be 40, which is mental.
Probably Threads attendees, you know?
I don't know. I think Oliver did actually. Yeah, in fact, he did come. Yeah, it all comes back to Threads.
Yeah.
That's They
Dino's fault.
They care about culture, and they're kind of actively involved in the city. They're good at stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like they're good at gigs. They're good at shows. They're good at theatre. They're actually good at stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like, which hasn't always been the case without throwing anyone sort of previously under the bus. You just didn't see them at stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like. They feel more approachable and they feel real and they feel like they actually give a shit.
Great.
It's good.
Mate, happy days. Gonna move on a little bit and try and get to almost modern-ish times with you. So last couple of years, Fagans. Talk about Fagans with us.
Fagans, that's after my wife, my dog and Sheffield, it's probably the love of my life, I think.
Yeah. What is Fagans?
So Fagans is an Irish boozer that... It's one of the oldest continuous licenses in the city, I found out. It's 1770 or something. It's been there. Yeah, it's been there forever. We found the old plans and it's been like a hodgepodge of different things at different times, but the oldest plan is like 17 something, yeah.
Wow.
But for 37 years, it was owned by Tom and Barbara. Tom and Barbara Balding, who lived upstairs, brought 3 kids up upstairs.
Yeah.
Tom and Barbara were like brilliant people. It's always had a thing about it, Fagans, with musicians and creatives. It's a little bit. It's slightly out of the way. Tom was this like font of knowledge about everything, super bright fella who like could talk about, you know, one of them guys who like knows something about everything.
Yeah,
like he would be the greatest quiz guy ever.
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
Just lovely, and they always asked after you, and they always knew what were going on in the city. And how are you getting on with that, James? All right, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And it used to be a bit of an escape for me, so I'd go on my own with like a paper and a pint and just sit and chill. Tom would come and have a chat, and you know, whatever.
Good Guinness.
It was great. It's always been great Guinness.
Yeah.
I mean that and grapes. Grapes is mega. Grapes, man. If I was, grapes might be slightly better, which is like the worst thing I'm going to ever say. Don't know. Maybe I think it's close. They're the best. Like them two at best, right?
I was going to say
if someone said you're second to grapes, I'd be like fucking fine.
Yeah, that's like being second to Bragazzis at coffee. Like, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Different leagues.
And Tom mentioned that he were going to retire. This is how long we had it. 2 years. So this would have been maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh God. He sort of said, I want it to go to a good home. And I was like, okay.
He's saying this, sowing the seeds for you there.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I was sat in there and he sort of alluded to the fact. I was like, oh God. But I knew capacity-wise, because I've learned, because I'm not as big an idiot as I was.
Yeah.
I thought, I can't do this. Like, I certainly can't do it on my own. And I actually don't think me and Jim could have done it, like, capacity-wise.
Just taking it on as another.
Just thought, I can't think we can do this. And I actually don't think that's what Fagans... I never viewed Fagans as a business.
Mm-hmm.
I viewed Fagans as like a piece of our heritage that we need to keep and sustain.
Again, the importance of the history of Sheffield, preserving the culture.
Yep. So I sent a WhatsApp message round to a group of people who I thought they'll be up for this.
Yeah. Which
was elders. Again,
my elders. I'll never ask you for anything.
Yeah.
Do you want to run a pub?
Do you want to save a pub? My brother.
Yeah.
I think John were in it as well, but he turned it down.
Yeah.
Perhaps sensibly. And Mark and Niall from Warp.
Yeah.
Their mate Stan, who's a legend. Ause.
Yeah.
Pickup, who builds on my bars. I wasn't daft.
Yeah.
Of the 9, one's a painter and decorator, one's a joiner. Like,
there you go.
You know what I mean? Like, it's always gonna be all right. And
Man's connection.
Yeah.
Like Lego, innit?
Yeah, and we won't have to pay for it. Or not as much as we usually would.
Just costs. Yeah. Just material costs.
Just send one at lads. So we did. Yeah, Tom and Barbara left. I think 1st of Jan 20. What year are we in?
25.
23 then.
Yeah.
And we reopened it mid-March 23.
I came in for Tramlines that year. Me and Chris Arnold popped in. Brilliant. Outside, you did the outside thing?
But that's where Tom used to park his car. So now it's a beer garden.
Nice. All right.
So yeah, we changed very few things. So we added a card machine because it was cash only before.
Yeah.
And we set up an Instagram account. That's about it.
Perfect.
Everything else we largely kept the same. Other than obviously Tom used to cook the food, and I just thought we can't replace that.
Yeah.
Because it was very much like Tom's baby.
Yeah.
So we just said no food. And again, I think we needed that simplicity so that it didn't become another massive fucking beast for us to look after.
Yeah. So what if you go to Fagan's, what can you expect if you have never been before and you're visiting Sheffield, or you're in Sheffield, you've never been?
So it's I think I'm sort of obsessed with pubs. For loads of reasons. One, I love the feel of them, but I also think they're culturally massively important.
Hugely
and I think
so.
we've lost some of it as well. And they don't have to be about the drink, even though that is obviously a part of it.
Yeah.
But I think in an age where things are becoming increasingly inauthentic and everyone's on their phone and it's easy to just have a row online.
Yeah.
Pubs are important because you speak to people face to face. And in Fagan's, it's one of them places where you'll just get talking to whoever's in there. There's always people chatting from different backgrounds. And I think they're a really important equalizer of I also think before the age of the Wazzocks online.
Yeah.
If you said something if you said something stupid in a pub, are you a village idiot?
Yeah.
Someone else would say, "Oh, shut up, you fucking knobhead." You know what I mean? Now them idiots go and find all the other idiots who think like them and embolden them. You know what I mean? They're all in their own little space now. Instead of being told, "You're a fucking idiot, shut up."
That's what TikTok is.
Just circle jerking idiots, right?
Everybody's finding their kind of little, what they're called, echo chambers, I guess.
It's that. Which I think pubs are important. What you also have in there, obviously, brilliantly, which is 5 nights a week, there's live music in the back. Now that ranges from proper trad Irish sessions.
Yeah. So you stuck to the real roots of the pub, as an Irish pub.
I remember Barbara sort of giving me every musician's number, which is about 40 odd numbers, and I just spent an afternoon ringing them saying, I was concerned because I knew that if people saw my name attached to that, there could have been a fear of it's gonna start serving Negronis and he's gonna ruin it. You know,
you thought people might not.
He's gonna make it into a posh boozer.
Yeah, might not think that you understood the value of it as it was.
And I knew a big part of that would be keeping the musicians, and we're just saying to them we're not going to change it. So even to the point where there's a knackered old floor in that back room. Yeah. But allegedly, it's really acoustically important. Which is what the musicians tell me. And I'm like, yeah, but it's shagged. I just want to, can't I put some parquet in it or whatever? And they're like, you can't change it. And even Orly rang me and were like, do not change that fucking floor. And I was like,
that's Richard Hawley, yeah,
And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, if Richard Hawley tells you,
good, you got to do as you're told, right? And he's the one where if he rings you, you're like, yes, Richard, I will just do what you tell me.
So has Fagan's always been a place that because Richard Hawley is a very famous musician in Sheffield. He used to go drinking there even before you guys took it over.
Oh, he'd been there.
Monkeys go there. Yeah. Obviously, Matt owns it, but I've seen a photo of Cookie was in there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he comes in. We're with Cookie last night in there actually.
Nice.
The musicians seem to love it. I think there's a weird unwritten rule in there, which everyone seems to adhere to, which is mad. You do not get asked for a photo in there.
Yeah, no selfies.
No one bothers you. We've had Jarvis has been in there and not got bothered.
Yeah.
Orly don't get. I mean, if Jarvis don't get bothered, no one is because he's so recognisable, right? Yeah. You can't mistake him for anyone else.
My God, legend.
Yeah, everyone's been in there, and they don't. The customers seem to know. It's a bit
I love that.
If I were in somewhere else, I'm asking for a photo, but I'm not doing it in here because I look like a complete knob.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a cool little sanctuary, that.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So of all the bars and venues and stuff that you've been involved with over the years, which one are you most proud of? Or which one's got a soft spot in your
the
heart?
one I love the most is definitely Fagan's.
Yeah.
In terms of, I spend far too much time there, if I'm being told.
Can I just ask about the name? Is Fagan the evil guy from
Oliver Twist
with a fingerless club?
I think that's I-N.
Not sure, but it could be the same spelling actually. But
nothing to do.
So Joe Fagan, it was called the Barrel And then when Tom and Barbara took it on 39 years, for whatever it is now, 39 years ago, it was owned by Joe Fagan, who'd also done like a massive stretch there, 40 years. I can't remember the exact number. And they changed, in his honour, they changed it from the barrel to Fagan's. So that's the guy on the sign. That's Joe Fagan.
That's your favourite.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one. That's the one I spend the most time in. But because I own it with a gang of my mates. It's
that,
lovely. It feel like
it must feel special.
We've got a brilliant manager who lives upstairs, Jed. So it sort of runs itself.
Shout out to Jed.
Jed's fucking mega. And yeah, I do love it. But then I think, in terms of the one that, if I was taking my heart out of it and I was looking at it from a purely sort of job well done thing, there's something special about Public. I think like,
from what you've been saying to me, that they're the two that I get
even
the biggest
like
vibe off.
Nick's logo for Public, when we first went down there, and it was a complete crap hole. There was the old...
it's a toilet.
It was a toilet. It was literally a crap hole. There was the old caretaker's notebook, and Nick found his handwriting in it, and that's the logo. He scanned the handwriting of the old caretaker. Now, stuff like that, I'm like, I love that. Like,
you're a bastard.
He had the idea of like...
Sick. That's sick.
It's wicked.
That's a great little bit of knowledge. Do people know that?
Not really. I mean, we mentioned it a little bit back at sort of Cocktail Book.
That's great, man.
And then we did it. I think it's aged well. It's 8 years now. It's not clearly getting kind of. It's still sort of beloved. I just think it's a perfect little thing. Public. It feels like things have shelf lives, right?
Of course.
Picture House Socials had 10 years. Kane's bought Aberdale Picture House, so it makes sense for us to leave that. We've had 10 great years. I had a brilliant last night there on Saturday, up until 4 o'clock in the morning, which I've not done for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with that. 10 good years. Aberdale Road has changed remarkably since we've been there.
Absolutely, man. You were a big part of it as well.
I like being part of those journeys. But yeah, I also don't get wistful about kind of what's gone and more about what's next, you know.
Gatsby now Foresters.
Yep.
So that's switched over. You've turned into
more
what
grown
it
up
was.
pub.
Yeah.
Great food.
Back to its roots, basically.
Yeah. Boozer.
Yeah.
The other thing with my stuff is I'm only really at my best when I'm doing something I'd enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So the trajectory is obvious, right?
Yeah.
Threads, naughty,
Loved
late
it.
night.
Yeah.
Bowery, still pretty mad.
Yeah.
Gatsby, party bar,
Yeah.
but not a club, so a little bit more grown up.
Yeah.
Picture House, bit more grown up again.
Yeah.
Want to watch some live music, good cocktails.
Yeah.
Public, really quite grown up.
Yeah.
Now I'm in like my old man boozer phase. Because I'm
I was going to say one thing that's interesting when you open Picture House, you're also managing bands. So you're like, I need a venue that cool bands can play in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It all does seem to tie in with like everything that you've been doing, but also it's all service the city so importantly, because like you say, a lot of creatives and stuff have passed through those spaces, and like I learned to DJ in a lot of your venues.
Yep.
I learned to DJ at Threads.
Yep.
It was a place where we got an opportunity to stand up in front of like a really cool crowd of like-minded people and be like, what works for this?
Yep.
I still DJ to an extent, I think, in a style that I learned from watching DJs at Threads.
I think there is a bit of like Children of Threads thing.
Yeah.
I can often spot it. Vanessa's got it.
Yeah.
Danny Beck's got it.
Yeah.
It's like a broadness of taste as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also like not taking yourself too seriously.
100%.
You know what I mean? I think DJs can slip into that.
Yeah.
Whereas our people who came through that realised that the main thing was the party.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely. If in doubt, Charles and Eddie, would I lie to you?
Yeah.
Shout out to Dino.
Something still, yeah. Fucking hell, yeah. I used to love that, didn't I?
I guess wanted to bring that sort of to modern day. So we had John on previously as a former guest, so a lot of our listeners know him, and we've chatted about Day Fever. You're also involved in Day Fever, so I think we know a little bit about the history of that and how that sort of came about. How's that for you? Is that like, that's going back to Threads, but like again, like in a grown up?
Yeah, it's interesting
older
that I
era.
thought, what's it off? Godfather 3. I thought I was out and then you dragged me back in. That one, you dragged me back in. Thought I was done with like clubs.
Yeah.
But I mean, that thing's just gone nuts. I can't sort of believe it, really. It's been 18 months since we started it, and we've gone from doing one in Sheffield at Bowery to I'm booking loads of new cities in this week, actually. So by end of the year, we'll be in 32 cities.
Beautiful.
32 cities, regularly. And again, what the beautiful thing about that is it's created this community, and almost more than anything I've done, actually, the stories from the people who attend that you get are like enough to kind of break my heart sometimes.
In the way that you created that small community at Threads just in Sheffield, though, you've almost done that across the country with Day Fever.
Yeah.
And I know that it's a group of you that do it, but it's there's got to be something in the fact that you did that at Threads and you knew how important that was.
Yeah, I think what's good about that crew, so me, John, Chris, McClaw, who looks like that footy
Steve
manager.
Bracknell guy, but he's not,
and Johnny and Johnny's wife, Vicky McClaw, obviously.
Yeah.
Vicky's a big part of it, right? Because I think
she's a celeb.
She's a celeb, but she feels relatable.
Yeah.
Because she's normal, right? Like, she's a mate, and she's what you think Vicky McClaw's like is what she's like. She's dead sound. She really cares. She's got a proper like empathy about her, which obviously you can tell because she does all her dementia choir stuff and all that.
Yeah, of course.
She's also like a proper grafter. Like she's filming. I don't know if she's filming something. Probably.
She's always filming something. Man.
She'll kill me if I give something away. I don't know if it's been announced, so I just won't say out. She's filming something, and she works a nuts off. And but importantly, I think having Vicky involved in that made people trust us.
Yeah,
because
it reached an audience, didn't it? It helped reach an audience, and also seeing her at the events and stuff. I mean, I've not been at an event with her yet. Yeah, but seeing when she comes on stage and stuff, she has a great time. Yeah. And then the crowd also follow that, and all the events that I've done have been amazing, man. Like it's got that Threads feel to the playlist. It's all over the place. It's from 50s and 60s rock and roll to mad rave in the afternoon, and like I love it. Like it's a bit of me. It's a bit of me. So
I knew there were a few people I knew when we started it. We made a list in office, which I should have sent you a photo of actually. And it said Jimmy May, Chris Arnold. Who else did we have in it? People you'd know, Christian Carlisle.
Yeah, great.
I just thought, what do we need? Don't need snobs.
Yeah.
And we need characters. So you were in the group.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. It's nice to be recognised
as a complete nut job. But we knew it were about. It's about warmth, Day Fever. It's about like feel good. It's not
in it.
That's what it is, right? It's. I also think some of the timing of it is the country feels pretty doomy, right? Like it can at the minute.
100%.
That's just 5 hours on a Saturday afternoon having a laugh with your mates.
One thing I'll say as well is the trajectory of clubs at the moment is not looking great.
Nope.
Generally speaking, I think there's been a consensus that many people, and young people in particular, don't like going out mega late nights anymore.
No.
That's been a real feedback after lockdown, that people prefer an earlier finish. So actually servicing the nighttime venues that used to be the late night venues that would run till 4 or 5 in the morning, giving them that trade during the daytime.
It's huge.
It's literally keeping some venues afloat.
We know it is because we've been told it is.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
from
so
more than one of our venues. They said if you wouldn't have started this 18 months ago, I think we'd have gone under.
Yes.
You know the ones that we go into monthly?
Yeah.
And as you know, because you DJ them, people drink like animals.
Yes.
Like they're putting some money behind bar.
Yeah. It's because it's an older crowd with disposable income. It's perfect. It's the perfect storm in the best way.
It's like a lot of things. It's a kernel of a good idea.
Yeah.
Which Johnny was wicked at. He was kind of badgering us with it. We were in a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do it. Yeah, we should do it. Everyone's got busy lives, right?
Yeah.
I think John then said, come on, let's crack. Let's just try one. I went and I were gone at City Hall about crossed wires, actually. And I went down into a ballroom, which I'd not been in since I went to like a Brighton Beach 10 years ago or whatever.
Great venue.
With me winkle pickers on and that.
Yes.
And
great night. Brighton Beach.
Yeah, it was wicked.
Fuck.
And I went in and were like, oh, I love it in here. Let's do it here. It was very off the cuff. And I just said, right, I think we set up the company in November, and I just booked one in December in Sheffield. I thought, let's just try it, whatever. Pete McKee again. Draw us something, Pete, will you? Draw us something right nice. He drawed us a wicked thing, and then we just went for it, and then it obviously worked really well. And then we kind of, I think we did Knots, which obviously Vicky's like their rock star in Nottingham, so we knew that one would do well.
She's their Helders.
She is, yeah. They love her.
Bring her into a meeting.
It's a weird place, Nottingham, because like it's a big city.
Yeah.
And I guess you've got like Sleaford Mods.
Jake Bug.
Not a lot else.
No.
Oh, which is kind of surprising, but she's got this like rock star.
Shane Meadows is
So she's like their rock star, really. So we did that, and then we were doing London. Sales in London was doing all right.
Yeah.
I was like, and then we got this article on BBC, and it went nuts. Had millions of views. I think we sold 900 tickets in an hour.
Again, is that something that you chased, or is that just something that happened?
That was so. I think Johnny knew the geezer who wrote it in Wales.
Right.
What I am in Sheffield, Johnny is in like the whole of Wales. Like,
big up.
You
Johnny.
go anywhere in Wales, it's like, hey up, Johnny. I'm like, I mean, Welsh are like that, don't they? They all know each other.
Nice.
And then after that, it just got proper momentum. And I remember saying to lads, and I was all sort of thinking, bloody hell, this is going to blow up.
Yeah.
My initial thing was, I want to build this quite sensibly.
Yeah. You've got all those years of experience now from your band managing, your venue managing. Fair,
Johnny and John proper pushed it and were like, we've got to go quick. And I was like, that's sort of again, I want to be methodical.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just sort of gave in and just went, oh, sod it, let's go as fast as possible. I'll just go and book the venues. And with a club night, it's like, well, if it doesn't work, we just won't do another one.
Yeah.
It's not a bar where you're going, I'm signing a lease for 20 years.
Yeah, you're not touching brick on it, are you? Yeah.
So then we just went as fast as possible, really.
And it's blown up. It's done great.
Yeah.
Mate, Jim, it's been so lovely chatting to you. We've done, like, how long have we done, Dave?
Hour 30, mate.
Bloody
Perfect.
But longer, probably longer, actually.
Well,
a little bit longer.
We'll finish on Crosswires. So I think it's important to talk about a podcast festival, seeing as we're a podcast.
That'd make sense.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Could have done an hour and a half on it.
Yeah.
So in 2024, you started. Is it the UK's first podcast festival?
So there's like industry ones that are like lanyard wanker ones.
Yeah.
But probably shouldn't say that.
There'll be loads of lanyard wankers at Crosswires now.
Yeah. But it's the first one that's like punter focused.
Yeah.
So
was that your idea, or
we had a curry in Hope? Big up Curry Cabin in Hope.
Curry Cabin in Hope is the
me, Alice Levine from My
Alice
Dad Wrote a Porno,
yeah,
and obviously loads of other stuff.
Radio 1 and all that.
Yep. And Dino Sofas, who owns Persephonica, who are a production company based in Sheffield now, who produce podcasts, including
Lily
Miss
Allen.
Me, the Lily Allen, Makita Oliver one, and loads of other stuff. We had a walk. We had a lovely walk up to like Mamtor, back down into Hope. Went for a curry. When I sold Tramlines in 2020, I had to sign what's called a non-compete clause. I couldn't start a music festival in Europe for 5 years.
Right.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I get why they got me to do it. But that was coming to an end, and I thought I didn't want to do another music festival because they're just brutally stressful, and that's getting harder and harder anyway. For various reasons, you could do an entire thing on that, and I don't think we're creating any more headliners is a problem.
Yes.
But my listening habits, I was probably I'd begun listening to more podcasts than music.
Yeah, I think I've done that as well.
And I went to
me as well. Yeah.
I went to Alice's live. Pathetically, even though Alice is a friend, I've never listened to My Dad Wrote a Porno.
Right.
I've listened. There's so much of it.
Where'd you start? At the beginning, but then you're miles behind.
It'll take me 5 years, right? Anyway, but I went with no context to one of her live shows that they did at the Palladium in London. We all, me, Amy, Dino, Fee, his missus went.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, these are like super nerds, these fans. Like they're obsessed.
Yeah.
People coming in fancy dress and stuff. Like
from things they've talked about in the episodes and all that.
I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was at all.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, it'd be like a lecture and people would be, I was like, why hasn't anyone done this but as a festival? So we sat and talked about it and went for it. And we did the first one last year. And
of course, where hosts it? But Sheffield.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't do it anywhere else.
No, that was another conversation with Dom at City Hall.
Yeah.
Just said, hiya, mate, I'm thinking about doing a podcast festival. Like, having just done like Day Fever with him, we were like, you're just mental.
Anything you want to do, James? It's going to make me loads of money.
Yeah. So yeah, we had some great ones last year. We had Adam Buxton was a big one for me because I kind of loved him for years.
Yeah.
Kind of grew up on Adam and Joe as a kind of youngster, watching them, do theatre plays with Star Wars figures. And then this year we've got some really good stuff about to be announced. We've got a wicked partnership, which I won't ruin, but an amazing partnership with a free Fringe. Whereas partner who's going to come and curate that for us is like, it's nuts that we've managed to pull it off. Really,
awesome.
It'll come, that news will probably come out mid-April.
Exciting, man. I'm looking forward to it. Some of the ones you've already announced, Jordan North and I can't remember.
Help I Sexted My Boss.
Yes, thank you.
That's sold out in like 3 days.
Yeah. So with the podcast festival, basically it's like a bunch of live podcasts.
That's right.
And you pay. You don't sort of pay for a wristband for the whole festival.
No,
you pay per event.
Each individual event, because we want it to be so broad.
Yeah.
And podcasting is, right. It's not.
Of course.
It's not a genre. It's a medium.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, someone who wants to go and watch Football Focus, isn't going to want to watch Help I Sexted My Boss.
Yeah.
So you'd be selling the idea ultimately, if we do what we want to do with it, is Edinburgh Festival for podcasts.
Beautiful.
So everything's a separate ticket.
Yeah.
But it happens on a big weekend. This year we'll improve that a lot. We're doing something in Cole Brothers at the front.
Great.
To make it feel more like a festival over the weekend. Bars and food out there.
Nice.
So yeah.
Me and Dave will do one of the free venues around the outside. We'll have a bucket and we'll hopefully not get baby reindeered.
I won't care.
By the Martha of podcasts.
I'll be screaming and shouting.
Yeah,
put a camera in front of me, mate.
Baby!
Yeah.
Nice.
Wicked.
So with that, I guess, what's the... What more can we say?
What does the future hold?
Yeah, what's the future hold?
When are you going to retire?
There you go.
Oh God!
Retire early?
Do you know? No.
Just like Godfather.
Nah.
Pulling you back in.
Yeah. So I don't know what the future holds, and largely, I'm looking forward to get my new windows in my house.
Beautiful, mate.
Really nice that. And I've got a new bathroom suite on order, so that'll be nice. And putting a second toilet in, which Amy's really pleased about.
Beautiful.
She's currently only got one toilet, which.
You get older though. So I went through B&Q and I was looking at taps the other day.
Taps
And I started
good,
looking
aren't
at taps going, and all those like, that's a spray nozzle on that one.
Yeah, like
when you get to an
I
age.
think I'm going to get one of them taps in kitchen that does boiling water straight away.
Oh shit!
Which is proper bougie in it.
That's nice.
Like,
That's quick though. I like that.
I've come a long way, really.
But yeah, mate, fucking hell, enjoy the fruits of your success.
Yeah, absolutely. So you sound
You've
like a busy
grafted
man.
for it, mate.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I'm doing an exhibition. I've started collecting art in lockdown because I was bored and I didn't have anything to do, and I shut all my businesses. And then I sort of loved it, and I started buying work from like graduates and
Cool.
going to art graduation ceremonies and seeing what work they were making and buying bits and bobs. So I'm exhibiting 50 works from my collection at Yorkshire Art Space in June.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah. So
You worried about AI at all?
For art? I think. Oh God.
That's probably another hour, right?
I think. AI is going to change. It's going to be like
a weird 10 years.
Like Industrial Revolution. This is a fucking random thing to end on, but I think it's going to be like what the Industrial Revolution did to kind of farming communities, and then what advanced manufacturing did to manufacturing jobs. I think AI is going to destroy a lot of white collar jobs. I think anything that's about data entry or the legal profession will really suffer, because if an AI can do what a lawyer can, why bother? I think it's going to change a lot, and I think it'll end up resulting in UBI, Universal Basic Income. I think they'll have to bring it in.
You're a great mind to ask because of how you organise things. I think, and like you said, with your businesses, I think you can see a pattern.
Yeah,
and I think you might be you might be on the ball with that universal basic income.
I think they'll have to bring it in. I also think though, and this is the more kind of glass half full side, I think creativity and tangible things that people make and experiences will become more and more
I agree.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I think the live experience, live music or live theatre or live podcasting or whatever, experiencing something, and then what people make with their hands, so that might be ceramics or visual art, music, I think that'll become more and more valued as a load of the chunk of work just becomes automated and like kind of soulless. I think we'll start valuing things.
It's gonna be the beauty in the human mistake. I think
I think that'll come into music.
Yeah,
I think like you go back and listen to like, I don't know, old blues records.
Yeah,
the duff notes or the mistakes is the humanity in it.
Yeah, it's the soul.
The soul of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can hear it in a lot of pop. I mean, I love pop music. I'm not going to slag it off.
Same.
I love a banging pop tune. Like once every, what's the one I love at the minute? It's massive.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Nah, although I do like that.
Billy
Sing it.
And I'm too messy.
Oh, Lonely Young.
It's wicked.
Lonely Young.
That's sick.
And I'll do this in. Amy will have some on in car, and this was months ago, and that came on. I was like, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
Like first listen, I'm like, "Who is
Massive.
that?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "She's gonna be."
She's got a vibe about it as well.
She's got an edge
Bristol,
as well.
isn't she?
Yeah,
Bristol.
Yeah, she's wicked.
Yeah.
So I love pop music, and that's not a great example because that's just a wicked song.
It's a banger.
But you can feel things becoming almost overtly overproduced, and I think that'll start stripping out of stuff. I think.
Beautiful, mate. Honestly, it's been a pleasure having you on. Could do another 5 hours, I reckon, chatting about everything. Didn't even touch on your pedalo photography and all
That's all Rob, innit? That's all Rob.
Didn't touch on any of that stuff, your photography or any of that. But like, I think we covered pretty much just about everything else. We'll have to get you back in again at some point. Mate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Which day fever are you doing this weekend?
None.
All right.
It's my dad's 70th, so we're going in a mad one with him.
Nice.
And I'm back on Hull. I've got Manchester, Hull. God knows where else.
Sweet.
Loads of good ones. So
Nice.
yeah, we'll have to do a day fever soon. Quick drink at public.
Quick drink of public, yeah.
Nice one. Cheers, gang.